let me welcome you here to Gilcomston Church this Wednesday lunchtime. Our regular relaunch is what we call it, a chance to start all over again, and most of us are glad of the opportunity to do so. Have a break in the middle of the week and enjoy some good food, enjoy some good chat, hopefully, and have the chance as well just to pause long enough to reflect a little bit on what God has to say in the scriptures, so that as we nourish our bodies, so our minds and our hearts as well, we're able to get a little bit of stimulus, strength, energy, and helped to press on. And today we're going to be starting a kind of new series on a Wednesday lunchtime that will stretch through the next few weeks. And we're simply calling it Learners, because we're drawing on the wisdom, the practical wisdom that there is in the Bible. There's a particular bit of the Bible that is often called the wisdom literature, and it's very, very practical stuff. What do you do when your neighbor wakes you up every morning at 3:30 in the morning by putting their cat outside and shouting at the cat? What are you meant to do? How are you meant to handle that sort of situation? That's what I mean. It's very practical stuff. And we're just going to kind of work through some of the practical wisdom that there is in this part of the Bible. And I thought today we would start with my younger sister. I've got two sisters, an older sister, her whom you must always obey, and a younger one who is 2 years younger than me, and you can spot her. She's the kind of blonde, beautiful one on the left-hand side of the picture there. That's, you can tell my age. That was in the day of black and white photographs, when they actually printed photographs rather than having on a mobile phone and things like that. And when it was often the custom, parents, because they were so chuffed with their children, they would take them to a photographer and get a photo taken. And there we are, all neatly dressed up. And here's yours truly with a nice tie around his neck and everything like that. And of course, children do grow up. And I grew up and she grew up. And here we have her when she kind of hits her teenage years, her later teenage years. You'll see the picture just kind of morphs into a rather different picture now. Still, the two of us there together, my older sister out of the picture, and my younger brother out of the picture as well, but the two of us like that. And she hit the age of 17, and she is the kind of quintessential archetypal learner. And that's why I've got a picture of her on the screen there, because she, as well as anyone I know, is the embodiment, the epitome of what a learner is. When she was 17, she was able to drive. In point of fact, she wasn't able to drive. That was the problem. And I probably should give you a spoiler before I start telling you the narrative here. And so if you don't want to know what the end of the story is, you don't want to get your hankies out and things like that, then block your ears for the next couple of minutes or so. But if you do want to happen to live with a spoiler, all I need to tell you is I'm still alive and she's still alive. But that, having said that, I taught her to drive a motor car. I was 19 years old at the time, so I'd already had 2 good full years of driving a car. And because I had not long since, I suppose, in the last couple of years, been through all the process of learning to drive, had a driving tuition and passed the test, my parents figured I was as well equipped as anyone to teach my younger sister to drive. I didn't realize that they probably actually had ulterior purposes, that they didn't want to take her out to drive because she, when I stuck her in the car, she said, "What's this round thing in front of me?" And I thought, this is not a good start if you don't even know what the steering wheel is and what the steering wheel does. But nonetheless, I ventured on, and where we lived was in Renfrewshire at the time, just on the kind of south side of the River Clyde. And I thought that a kind of safe place to take her to do her driving, to test and just to learn how to drive, was in the small town of Port Glasgow. I knew it well enough. It's not a big town or anything. The only problem is that getting into Port Glasgow, from where we lived, you have to go down a hill. and it's quite a steep hill, and as you go down the hill, there is at the end of the hill, the bottom of the hill, there is a main road. It's a kind of T-junction with a main road at the bottom as the T-bit, and the other side of the main road is a 50-foot drop. Now, as we are going down the hill, she's driving, obviously, and I'm in the kind of passenger seat, just kind of trying to guide her and direct her and things like that. She gets it into her head somehow that what was needed was acceleration. And so here we are, and she's going down the hill, and it's kind of like a kamikaze pilot. And I'm sitting there thinking, what on earth is going on? And I'm thinking, now, what do I do here? And as she goes down, getting harder and harder and harder like that, I take what I think probably is to this day the second most important decision that I took in my life. Maybe if you ask my wife, she would say, really, it's probably the third most important because I did decide to marry her. But call it what you will, I took a pretty important decision. And the important decision was simply this. I decided I would grab the handbrake and pull it up as hard, as quickly as I possibly could, which is what I did. I pulled the handbrake up, and we landed 5 feet into the main road. And she turned around and said, should I have braked? And being a kind of kind brother, I simply said politely, yeah, you should have braked, and you should have started braking a lot earlier than you did, and you shouldn't really need me to pull the handbrake on like that to do the braking. And glad to know she passed her test eventually, and as I say, she's still alive, I'm still alive, and she hasn't occasioned the death of anyone to my knowledge thus far. But on that day, I made 4 major resolutions. And I thought I'd put them on the screen for you. Number 1, get life insurance sooner rather than later. I kind of figured you do not know what is going to happen in life, and therefore the sooner you get some life insurance, probably the better it is. Don't wait until you're 30, don't wait until you're 40, 50, 60. Get your life insurance now, because you never quite know what's going to happen, even on the part of those who are closest and dearest to you. Number 2, resolution number 2, never get a job as a driving instructor. Apologies to James there, but I resolved I would never even contemplate getting a job as a driving instructor. It is too dangerous, too potentially hazardous, and it is not going to do your heart any good at all. Resolution number 3, categorically refuse any offer of a job as a kamikaze pilot. I do not like the idea. I do not enjoy the experience of gathering speed as you travel on down that hill like that with the potential of a big crash at the end. I thought is not for me. Maybe bungee jumping is your cup of tea, but that's not my scene at all. Refuse any offer of a job as a kamikaze pilot. And resolution number 4 was probably the most helpful, constructive one of all, which was always have an expert with you when you are learning something new, especially if it is potentially hazardous. Always have an expert with you when you are learning something new. And few things are potentially more hazardous, more characterized by all sorts of potential pitfalls, dangers, problems, and disasters than actually the business of living life. And that really is why we have the scriptures with us to help us navigate our way through life. We all want to go places in life. We all want our lives to be doing something more than just kind of going around in circles or getting stuck in a rut and things like that. And therefore, we do want to learn how to live life the way it's meant to be lived. We want to get out on the road and live life in that manner. And that's what the book of Proverbs, particularly in the Bible, is on about. And I thought we would read just 3 verses that set us off on the road. And I'll try and explain essentially what they mean for us and how they apply to us. So from the book of Proverbs in chapter 3, And at verse 5, we read this. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Now, that's the first important lesson that we learn. And essentially, what it means is simply this. Do not assume that because you are alive, you know how to live life. Any more than my sister, by stepping into a car, can assume that because she's sat down in the driving seat, therefore she knows how to drive a car. She didn't. She didn't have a clue how to drive a car. I had to explain to her what that round thing is. I had to explain to her what these three bits that stick off the floor are. And I explained to her what a gear lever is and how it works and how you use it. And I had to explain to her that's the handbrake as well. And that was before we ever got on to the complicated stuff about lights and windscreen wipers and things like that. Don't assume that you know how to live life just because you are alive. And what this first line of the book of Proverbs there is telling us is simply make sure you get Jesus into the car of your life with you. Make sure you have someone with you who knows how life is meant to be lived. So we'll put that heading on the screen for you so that you can see what we're on about there. Get Jesus into the car. Invite Jesus into the car of your life. Now, that's the first thing that the Bible all the way through is really saying to us. You need someone who knows what it's about to be there with you. Kind of dual control so that although you are living your life, you're not a kind of robot. Although you are living your life, you've got someone there who knows how life works, and you learn to trust in him, his being there, as my sister trusted me that because I knew how to drive a car, I would keep her safe. And thankfully, just about did, even though we ended up 5 feet into the main road like that. You invite Jesus into your life. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. Now, that's a very, very important lesson. Very simple, very clear, and in the same way as a learner driver invites someone who does know how to drive a car into the car to keep them safe and to help them grow in their ability to drive a car. So the Bible says you need to have someone in that car with you, and you need this Jesus. He knows how to live life. He's risen, he's alive, he's someone that you and I may know. We invite him in and say, Jesus, you kind of do the control with me as I learn to live out my life. And then the book of Proverbs goes on, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Now, this is a second lesson that's as important, but it's the kind of sequel to it. I had a driving instructor who was conveniently called Mr. Watt. So when people said, who was your driving instructor, I would say, what's his name? And they would kind of look at me, but he was Mr. Watt, and he was a very good instructor. And almost the very first lesson that he took me out on, he said, now, this is only going to work if you listen carefully to what I'm saying. I will explain to you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And I need you, he said, I need you to listen carefully and to follow my instructions. You're going to drive the car, but I'm going to instruct you as you go along. I will give you sufficient warning so that if you are going to have to turn a corner to the left in 50 yards time, I'm going to tell you 50 yards out, that's what you're going to be doing. But I need you to listen to my instructions, to follow my instructions. When I tell you to put your foot on the brake, put your foot on the brake. When I tell you to turn the wheel round, turn the wheel round. And so the second lesson there that the book of Proverbs is underlining for us in that, in all your ways acknowledge him. You have someone in your life with you who knows how to drive a car. Follow his instructions. Follow the instructions of Jesus because he knows his stuff. He knows how life works, and he knows the way in which we are best able, therefore, to live life. So learn to listen to him, follow his instructions, and he does know his stuff like that. And that really is what that next verse in Proverbs is saying. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. If you want to avoid kind of going all over the place in life, if you want to avoid crashing off the corner and things like that, you follow his instructions. You learn from him and make a point of doing so. And then the next verse 7 in the book of Proverbs chapter 3, simply says this: be not wise in your own eyes, fear the Lord, and turn away from evil. And so again, in the same way as we learn the highway code, there are some very simple, very straightforward rules of the road. And essentially what this is saying, if we translate it into terms of living life like driving a car along the road in order to get to the destination that you want to reach, there are these two things that are really important. The first is you keep your eye on the road, or keep your eye on the way. Remember how Jesus said, I'm the way. And one of the things that the Bible is always on about is keep your eyes on him. And that really is what the book of Proverbs is saying there. Fear the Lord. That's the kind of first rule of the road of life. Fear the Lord. Keep your eyes on him. Recognize who he is. Recognize that he is wise, that he's strong, that he's kind, that he is king. He knows the stuff. Keep your eyes on him. And with that, in the same way as we would recognize if someone is driving a car, make sure you keep your eyes on the road. Don't turn to the left and just kind of spend half a minute figuring out whether that's an ice cream shop you want to stop at. You're driving a car along that road. Keep your eye on the way. And the scriptures underline that for us always. Keep your eye on him. So constantly be reminding yourself of him, who he is, what he's like, that he's present, that he's there, that he's active, that he cares, and so on. You keep your eyes on him, and you avoid distractions. You refuse to be turned away down alleys and down paths that are not going to be helpful at all. You do not go off-road driving. You stick to the way, and you refuse to be distracted by other things, by other temptations that may seem attractive, may seem alluring, but actually aren't going to help you at all. And that essentially is your kind of starting point for learning to live life the way it's meant to be lived. And the followers of Jesus, that's what they were called. They were called learners. And you know as well as I do that if you see an L plate on the back or the front of a car, you know the one thing that's pretty much guaranteed to you, there will be a load of mistakes. And so you recognize they're just learners. And that's all that those who have trusted in Jesus are. We are learning how to live life the way it's meant to be lived, learning how to live life to the max. And that's what the whole Bible means that we should discover for ourselves. And that's what this series is really designed to help you come to know for yourself how to live life the way it's meant to be lived, the way that means it works, the way it's meant to be lived, and means you're able to get out on the road and live life to the full and start going places in life. And it starts off, you invite into the car of your life, you invite the one who knows how to live life, the one who is life. You invite him in and say, Jesus, you got to teach me. I want to live. And I need you to teach me, and I need you to help me, and I need you to take that dual control of my life. I want you to be my king. So hopefully that's a good starting point. Brian's going to be carrying on next week with another nugget from the book of Proverbs, and we'll take it on from there next week if you're able to manage. But let me close now with a short prayer. Lord God, thank you first of all for the miracle of life. What a remarkable, wonderful thing it is simply to be alive, to have been made as we are, with the capacity to enjoy friendship and love and relationship with the capacity, remarkably, to enjoy friendship with yourself. And we've all of us discovered pretty rapidly that life can get pretty complicated, confused, difficult, sometimes just pretty dangerous as well. And so we simply ask, please, that you would come into the car of our lives and that you would take that dual control so that even when we mess things up and make the wrong decision, take the wrong action, say the wrong things, that it's not going to be fatal. Would you come in and simply take that dual control of our lives and help us to learn from you day by day, week by week, how to live life to the max. And as you do so, we'll delight to have your company. We'll delight to fall back on your enabling. And we'll be glad to give you the praise as the best life coach that we could possibly have. So thank you for all that you give. Be with us, whatever we face in coming hours, coming days. May we know your presence with us and your help for us. For your own name's sake, we ask it. Amen. Good. Well, Brian will carry us forward next week. Enjoy the rest of your time here. You're welcome to stay as long as you wish. There's tea, coffee, and some refreshments as well.